let's get into this. Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to our impromptu random Friday live stream. I've never done a Friday live stream here on the channel as far as I can remember, but thought, instead of just posting a video, I thought I'd just come out here, talk to you guys for an hour plus, answering questions in regards to Week 12, everything that took place yesterday, everything that will potentially take place for the rest of Week 12 and going forward. Over the course of today's live stream, I'm going to be answering questions. So if you guys have any, please be sure to post them in the live chat. Somebody in the chat was just saying, "Why are you guys posting questions? Andrew's not here." They know that they're doing the right thing, because I'm going to scroll back up that chat in just a moment and answer anything you guys had sent prior. I was already looking at the chat. Again, I'm going to preface before we even get into this. I have Rachaad White and Jeff Wilson extremely high on my rankings. Extremely high. I will be starting them over a lot of players that you may not expect. We'll go ahead and address some of the questions that are in the chat. But if you guys have any questions, please be sure to mention your scoring format, whether you play in a standard league, half PPR, full PPR. It definitely does help in terms of my designation of ranks and how we want to approach specifically playing specific players. Outside of that, that's it. We're just talking all things fantasy football, and let's get into this. Again, if you guys haven't yet already, click the like button down below. Check out Prize Picks if you haven't. And let's talk fantasy, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and bring the chat up onto screen in just a moment. Let's go ahead. Let's grab the chat right here, and we're good. Boom. Okay, so unfortunately, the way that the YouTube chat works is, yes, technically, sometimes it does update, and I'm assuming that's why he was, I don't know who was saying it, but either way, if your question was above any of these, it's probably not in there because it's been refreshed, but either way. Luke earlier was saying, I need two: Olave, Rachaad White, and Chris Godwin. Okay, so like I was mentioning just a moment ago, Rachaad White is probably, you'll see by Sunday morning, but he's probably going to be in my top 8 running back rankings for the remaining running backs that are left. He is that high upside. And there are multiple reasons to kind of go over Rachaad White's potential for success this week that I wanted to kind of just, gloss over, just in case we're not 100%, confirmed on the idea, or you're not buying in as much as I am, just to give you some perspective. Okay. So besides the fact that Leonard Fournette is hit with the doubtful tag, so he's doubtful to play. That is one of the most primary reasons as to why we'd of course want to play Rachaad White. If there's no Leonard Fournette, there's a free reign of potential success for him within this backfield. And the last time we saw the Buccaneers backfield, specifically Leonard Fournette, in Germany, he threw an interception and then subsequently didn't play for the remainder of the game. I think he left like 6 minutes and 40 seconds left in that contest. And because of said, absence, we saw Rachaad White for the remainder of that Seattle Seahawks game, 11 rushing attempts for 72 rushing yards. Had himself a couple bursty runs, one for 29, one for 18, but ultimately was a, primary back of that team. We've seen him get goal line work in the past, even with Leonard Fournette active. We've seen him get a bunch of receptions. You even go back to his final year at Arizona State, 43 receptions in his final year there. He is capable in all 3 facets of the game. First, second, third down. Pass blocker, receiver, doesn't matter. They're going to utilize him as a full capacity back. Now, going up against Cleveland, in Cleveland, the expectation is already that it's going to rain. Okay, so that is obviously going to lend more of a, committed effort to potentially even running the ball that much more consistently than we usually expect this team to do so. And the fact that they take on the Cleveland Browns run stop defense that, again, we've talked about this all season long. Their run stop defense quite literally cannot stop a soul, to the extent to where, just giving you some perspective, the last 2 games that they have played, one against Buffalo, I think they gave up 86 yards each to James Cook and Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary in that game scored a rushing touchdown, was able to get over 16.5 fantasy points in that contest in a half PPR scoring format. The week before that against Miami, both Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr. both scored touchdowns. Jeff Wilson, the duo combined for over 190 rushing yards, and Jeff Wilson had over 20 fantasy points, right? So that we know that there is, a validity to starting running backs against this defense. One of the stats that I wrote down, because I thought about making a video regarding Rachaad White earlier today, but I was like, let's just live stream it, whatever. Specifically against Cleveland, this season in the last 8 games that Cleveland has played, 7 out of those last 8 games have consisted of an opposing running back or backfield having 86 or more rushing yards and 1 or more rushing touchdowns. 7 in the last 8 games. So we're expecting a pretty good week here for Rachaad White. So to specifically answer the question, I know this is a long way around, as to whether we're playing Godwin, Rachaad White, Olave. I think I'm leaning towards the idea of playing Olave first and foremost, and then Rachaad White second. I'll go ahead and pass on Godwin this week. because of the rain conditions and, of course, his lack of potential touchdown upside on a weekly basis. So Olave and Godwin. Sorry it took like 9 minutes to get there, but I just wanted to give some context in regards to Rachaad White for those of you who have him on roster. And now you can subsequently ask a question in regards to, hey, do I play Rachaad White or this other prospect? Because truly, he's going to be in the higher end of that conversation. Mike Evans or D-Hop, similar reason as to why I'm not playing Godwin as high as I would like to. I'd rather play D-Hop this week. There are rumors that Marquise Hollywood Brown might play. We know that Kyler's for sure going to play. But if we have Rondale Moore, Zach Ertz, and Greg Dortch all out, DeAndre Hopkins should be garnering probably like 14 targets and probably hauling majority of those. He's a great play this week. Cryptic says, am I insane to start Jeff Wilson Jr. over ETN? No, you're not insane. Considering the fact that this is another running back situation where the other running back within this backfield, Raheem Mostert, is doubtful to play, this grants so much more opportunity for this backfield. Now, just want to go ahead and let's talk about Jeff Wilson a little bit. In the last 2 weeks, Jeff Wilson Jr. has had a couple touchdowns siphoned from him on the goal line. Specifically, Raheem Mostert scored a touchdown in each of those last 2 games. Now, besides the touchdowns, Raheem Mostert has also accounted for 17 rushing attempts, while Jeff Wilson is at 26. So it's not a 50-50 split. Obviously, it's still in the main priority of giving the ball to Jeff Wilson, but 17 rushing attempts, leaving your potential scoreline, it's a big deal. I mean, just the last 2 weeks alone, Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson combined for 61.5 fantasy points. So that's 30 fantasy points per week and a half PPR, just off their last 2 games combined. So if we're in a conversation where this entire backfield is going to be, now fully acquired by Jeff Wilson, now we're going to see Salvon Ahmed get himself rushing attempts, but it's not going to be at a high enough capacity to where it totally impacts Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson, he was already in my top 10 rankings. He's probably in my top 4 at this point. I'm not even joking. You're saying, do I play him over Najee Harris? I'm thinking I might play him over, Jonathan Taylor this week. Like, legitimately. ETN. I think I saw someone say Najee Harris earlier. Either way, yes, I'm playing him over ETN. They play Houston. Houston's giving up, since week 7, nearly 27 fantasy points per week on rushing statistics alone. Like, a ridiculous amount of fantasy points just off rushing statistics. Not to mention the fact that Jeff Wilson in the last 2 games has garnered 8 targets. Raheem Mostert has garnered 6. That's 14 targets, 7 per game. I mean, if they get him involved in the receiving game on top of it, holy moly. The sky's the limit for Jeff Wilson. Christian Watson, George Pickens, Cordero Patterson. If I'm playing one out of the bunch in a full PPR, it's not going to be Cordero. It's between George Pickens and Christian Watson. I don't really like the matchup up against Isaiah Rodgers and Stephon Gilmore. I'd probably just roll with Christian Watson there, bald god. Zamir White, Abdullah, or Bolden. Who's the cuff? As of right now, my assumption would purely be it's one of these two. As for who's going to get the rushing attempts, my assumption is Brandon Bolden. Brandon Bolden would get the rushing attempts, and Amir Abdullah would get the receiving work. Pacheco or Rachaad White, it would be Rachaad White. Should I trade Davante Adams, Etienne, and Higbee for Travis Kelce, Jamar, and Montgomery? Davante Adams, Etienne, and Higbee for Travis Kelce, Jamar, and Montgomery. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. Okay, this is purely off of the assumption, right, that you don't really, this is actually tough now that I'm thinking about it, because you know what, now that I'm thinking about this, I don't know if I make that deal. Davante Adams on an incredible streak. Etienne has a ridiculous fantasy playoff schedule. I think it's even to an extent, but I'd like to see what the heck Jamar Chase even looks like this week before I make a commitment to that. Because I think Davante Adams outscores him the rest of the way. I think Etienne probably in the fantasy playoffs is just as valuable as Kelce. So then it becomes a conversation of Montgomery with Khalil Herbert returning from IR or Higbee, right? At that point, I think it's relatively even across the board. I think it's just a matter of who you like in the fantasy playoffs. And in my mind, I think I'd rather just have these two. Thank you. P. Ryan or Josh Palmer? I'm going to play Josh Palmer this week. Josh Palmer or Dameon Pierce. Pierce plays against Miami. If he scores a touchdown, he gets 12 points. I think Josh Palmer's probably a little bit more valuable, especially if it's a full PPR. Jeff Wilson, Godwin, Debo, or Olave start 2. Jeff Wilson is the for sure number 1. Debo's already questionable with the hamstring, so I'd probably play Olave alongside Jeff Wilson there. Let's see here. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Evans or Samaje P. Ryan? This one's tough then at that point, huh? I probably at that point, oh man, I think I'd play Evans there. Pretty sure I'd play Evans there. Okay, so my chat just updated to the very bottom of the screen. So we're going to get to some of these donations that were sent in just a moment. I just want to answer a couple more of these chat questions, then we'll go ahead and address those. White versus the Browns or Wilson versus the Texans? If I had to pick one, it's Jeff Wilson Jr. That's the running back I'd rather have this week. FF says, happy belated Thanksgiving. It's not like it's my birthday, my man, but I appreciate that. Thanks. Happy Turkey Day to you guys as well. Who do I start? I need 2 wide receivers, a running back, and a flex. We have D-Hop, Mike Evans, Debo, Christian Watson, Aaron Jones, Rachaad White. Okay, so of the group here, if we're starting 2 wide receivers, it's D-Hop number 1. And then if Debo does end up playing, I probably give him the second nod there. As for your current, if you need 2 running backs, well, I'm assuming you don't need 2 running backs. You just need a singular running back. I'm playing Rachaad White over Aaron Jones this week. And in the flex, I would play Aaron Jones. So it would be D-Hop, Debo under the assumption that he's healthy. If he's not, you pivot to Watson, Aaron Jones, and Rachaad White. Donald PPR, would you start Brissett over Aaron Rodgers? No, I wouldn't. I know he has a broken thumb. He's confirmed that. And the thing is, Donald, he's been dealing with that injury for like probably a month now. So the only issue that I have with Brissett is the rain game. That is the biggest concern. So I'd just rather play Aaron Rodgers at that point. Rachaad White, ETN. Yeah, I would play Rachaad White over ETN now, Ibrahim. JT, Rachaad White, or Jeff Wilson Jr. in a full PPR, pick one. I think I'm not even joking. I would play Jeff Wilson Jr. out of this group. Now, I may be crazy for doing so, but that's just the way that I would play this. I think that the matchup in itself, the fact that there will be no Raheem Mostert, it 100% lends to the idea that Jeff Wilson Jr. probably goes for a minimum of 20 fantasy points in this game. Ryan Bunch says start 3, Jeff Wilson, AJ Brown, T. Higgins, Aaron Jones. Really good questions, actually, across the board. I think I'm going Jeff Wilson, T. Higgins, and Aaron Jones. I'm going to bench AJ Brown this week. Robert says, anyone full PPR, 12-man league, Pierce or Pirine? Okay, so if I'm picking one of these two, I'm going to play Dameon Pierce here. As for Logan Thomas or Greg Dulcich, Logan Thomas is not going to play this week, I don't think. He's dealing with a rib injury. Didn't even practice today. So the assumption is that Logan Thomas does miss due to the injury, so you'd have to play Greg Dulcich there, Robert. Olave, Allen, Kirk, Palmer, Waddle, pick 3. Olave, Allen, Kirk, Palmer. Olave, Allen, and Kirk are my 3 that I would roll with. Oh, sorry, you have Waddle. Oh my God, there's 5 of these guys. Holy moly. Okay, so Waddle number 1. Allen number 2 in a full PPR. And then it's between Olave and Kirk as my number 3. I'm probably going Christian Kirk there. So Waddle, Allen, Kirk. I didn't even realize there were 5. This is going to sound rough. But who do I start out of Elijah Mitchell or Kieran Williams if Mostert doesn't play this week? I would feel very comfortable playing Kieran Williams this week, assuming it's a full PPR. If it's not a full PPR, then you got to play Elijah Mitchell there. Kieran Williams, in my mind, is most likely going to play 75% of the offensive snaps this week because it is going to be extremely difficult for the Rams to be able to run the ball. They're going to be in a negative game script for the entirety of the game. And like we saw last week where Kieran Williams dominated the snap counts, he will probably most likely be in the game for the entirety of that thing. So Kieran Williams is my suggestion there. Justin Fields or Geno Smith. Again, we're not 100% certain as to Justin Fields' overall designation for this week. I think it's just probably safer to play Geno Smith against the defense that, again, has given up a lot of points to a lot of opposing quarterbacks. What's the stat? I think I mentioned it earlier this week in my quarterback rankings video. I think they've allowed 2 touchdowns to quarterbacks in 7 out of their last 9 games. And Geno's coming off of like 3 or 4 consecutive games with 2 or more touchdowns. Like Geno's just an automatic, safe, 17-point fantasy play this week. ETN or Rachaad? Yeah, I'd play Rachaad White this week. Freiermuth or Njoku? I'm definitely playing Freiermuth still there. Njoku, rain game, and the fact that I know he's expected to play, but until we get a little bit of a better glimpse as to what we're going to end up doing in terms of his snap counts, his target counts, all that kind of jazz, we'll see. All right, I'm going to answer a couple more of these, and then we're going to hop into answering the donation questions that were just sent in. Again, don't feel obligated to send those in. We're just here to answer all questions. So I do appreciate those of you who want to support the channel in that regard, though. Thank you. We'll get there in a moment. Tom says, start 2 half PPR, Najee Harris, James Conner, Keenan Allen, Chris Olave, Rachaad White, Juju Kamara. Okay, so we got a lot of names here, huh? If we're starting 2 of these potential options this week, okay, what are we doing in a half PPR here? So, I mean, the fact that you have this many players and you can't start them is just sad, but At this moment, if I'm picking two out of this group, it's kind of tough. In a half PPR, I'm pretty sure I'm playing Rachaad White and Najee Harris this week. Thank you, Tom. Trevor Lawrence versus the Ravens in the rain, potentially in the rain. I don't know if it actually is confirmed though. Let me confirm this. Let me look at the weather. So as of right now, according to what I'm looking at, where's this game? It's in Jacksonville. Am I wrong? Maybe it's in Baltimore. Let's see here. Where the heck is this game? Yeah, it's in Jacksonville. What is the forecast? It says precipitation probability 11% in the third quarter. So it's most likely not going to be a rain game there. So so now that we've kind of established that, so T-Law's fine, or Matty Ice in the dome. Yeah, so this is not going to be a rain game based on what I'm looking at. So I'm probably just leaning towards playing Trevor Lawrence there. Missed mine. What did I miss, Jimmy? Andrea says Curtis Samuel or DPJ in a full PPR. I'd rather play DPJ this week. Even with Curtis Samuel, oh man. The issue that I have with Curtis Samuel is that he doesn't get enough targets. And that is a absolute shame. He definitely deserves more. Do I want to play? Oh, man. Even against Atlanta. I think I'm still playing DPJ there. Yeah, I'm probably playing DPJ there. Question for my dad's team, Rachaad White or Najee Harris, and a standard scoring for my... Yeah, I'm playing Rachaad White this week. Okay, Tyrone's going to be the final question before I get to some of these donations. Debo Samuel or Christian Kirk, full PPR. I'd rather play Christian Kirk there, Tyrone. Thank you. All right, let me go ahead. Let me bring the chat down for a moment. Let me answer some of these donation questions that were sent in so generously. Thank you very much, guys, for doing that. All right, so let's answer some of these questions. If by proxy I answer your question within answering somebody else's question, that's perfect. Otherwise, we'll be in the chat in just a moment, all right? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right, let's see here. Crip sends in a question. Says, hey, Andrew. So I'm in need of a tight end and a running back this week. We have Njoku or Foster Moreau in a full PPR. I play Foster Moreau there against the Seattle Seahawks. Also, for running back, go Gus Edwards, Cordero Patterson, Jerick McKinnon, or Kieran Williams in a full PPR. Considering Gus Edwards is probably going to be splitting in this backfield, I'd lean towards so Gus Edwards most likely splits. Jerick McKinnon probably doesn't get many targets, mainly because, again, it's not going to be a competitive matchup. Cordero Patterson versus Kieran Williams, I'd rather just play Cordero Patterson there. I think there is an argument to be made for Kieran Williams to take the spot, but I'm just going to play the safety of the goal line back of this team and just go Cordero. Thank you. Flow Easy says half PPR, Latavius Murray, Rachaad White. I'm still playing Rachaad White there. Latavius Murray has kind of slid up my rankings quite a bit here in the last couple days, but I still prefer Rachaad White clearly as the number one between those two. Freddie Rivera says bench one in a 10-team full PPR, Olave, Rachaad White, Juju. Oh, goodness gracious. Man. I think I'm probably benching Juju Smith-Schuster there this week. Thank you. I play Rachaad White and Olave. Tommy Vu sends in a question, says choose 2 out of 3. Michael Pittman, Samaje Perine, Najee Harris. Love the videos. Thank you very much, Tommy. I appreciate that. I'm playing Najee Harris and Michael Pittman Jr. As much as I like Samaje Perine, and as much as there is some sort of... There is validity to potentially playing him, mainly because of how much targets we could potentially see him garner. I don't know if there's a guarantee for him finding the end zone with those targets. Just to give you some perspective, in the last 5 weeks, the Tennessee Titans have given up 40 targets to opposing running backs that have led to about like 34 receptions and 200 and something receiving yards. So when teams cannot run the ball on the Titans, I don't know if I said Vikings earlier, on the Titans, because of the fact that the Titans in the last 5 weeks have only been giving up 2.81 yards per carry on average, they typically lean towards, passing the ball for the entirety of that game. I don't know how much of a target share Samaje Perine is technically going to garner. Let's say, for example, he catches the ball 5 times for 35 yards. That's a pretty good day for him. Even as a starting running back of this team, getting himself probably 11 rushing attempts, I don't see it being more value than what a Michael Pittman and or a Najee Harris could potentially present to us this week. Ray says JT, ETN, Rachaad White, or Jeff Wilson Jr. Sit one. If I'm sitting one out of that group, I'm sitting ETN. I'm playing Jonathan Taylor, Rachaad White, and Jeff Wilson. Thank you. Rockout says benched Cousins, SMH. Yeah, that was crazy. Dude, the fact that game was as high scoring as it became was crazy to me. Like, you know what's okay? So besides the fact that Kirk Cousins played well, the fact that the the verticality of the New England Patriots offense has somehow re-entered the conversation was very interesting to me. Devontae Adams relevant, Nelson Aguilar relevant. I mean, these could be options that in the future weeks, if they could be, more utilized within their offense, fantastic. But yes, Kirk Cousins, definitely a big L from me. I thought he was going to get a lot of pressure yesterday in that night game. He didn't see much of any. I mean, yes, he was sacked a couple times, but truth be told, it was all Kirk Cousins all day there yesterday. Should I play Jimmy G or Derek Carr? Says Rockout as your follow-up to that. I play Jimmy G. I think the consistency there from Jimmy is outstanding. I'm just going to roll with him as we continue for the remainder of the season. Let's see here. Drace sends in a question. Says D-Hop or Godwin? I'm going to say D-Hop for sure. Is Keenan Allen a good flex for the rest of the season? I believe so, yes. Especially in a full PPR, considering his touchdown upside isn't as high. I mean, in the first 2 years with what's his name? Justin Herbert. I almost called him Khalil Herbert. With Justin Herbert, he catches about 6 touchdowns every 16 games. So we're not going to see as much touchdown upside as we'd like, but he's good enough in terms of the receiving game of yardage and receptions to get the job done as a flex option. Big B says, 12-team full PPR Superflex, P. Ryan Wilson or Mike White? I play Russell Wilson there. Thank you. Michael sends in a question. Says, Olave, Lazard, Kirk, Ayuk, or Pittman, non-PPR pick 2. In a non-PPR, if I'm picking 2 options out of this bunch, I'm rolling with Christian Kirk and Brandon Ayuk. Thank you. iShine101 says, what's up, dude? Okay. Devonta Smith or Chris Olave, I need PPR upside. Between the 2 options, Philadelphia versus Green. Yeah, I'm probably going Chris Olave there against the very much so battered and bruised secondary of the 49ers, who are certainly in need of help. I don't know where they're going to get the help from. They're going to try to turn things around, but I think Olave probably has himself another big game here. Daniel Keenan says, first time on here. All right, first time on here. Welcome, Daniel. Says, Dulcich or Juwan Johnson this week? I'm playing Juwan Johnson. I'll just roll with the potential of his touchdown upside accordingly. I don't know if there's enough potential target opportunity for Dulcich within said offense to be relevant enough to even compete at the highest potential of upside with Juwan Johnson. So Juwan probably takes the cake there. Capri Sun says Capri Sun. That's definitely not how you spell Capri Sun. I'm pretty sure that's not how you spell it. But either way, half PPR. Who would you start as my wide receiver 2 in the flex? And a flex. AJ Brown, Keenan Allen, Christian Watson, Alvin Kamara, and Najee Harris. In a half PPR, which is my wide receiver 2? The wide receiver 2 is AJ Brown, and the flex is Najee Harris. Thank you. Hendricks 416 says start Tom Brady versus Cleveland or Justin Fields versus the Jets if he's active. I would rather play Justin Fields. Thank you, if he's active. Vowed on Film says half PPR. AJ Brown or Amari Cooper? Probably, yeah, I'm going to go with AJ Brown there. Again, with the weather concerns of that Cleveland game, I think the rain is currently expected to be, there's a 77% chance of rain. So there's a chance that we have a quarter in which it doesn't exist, and in the rest of the game, it's a downpour. But for right now, yes, I'll take the AJ Brown conversation here. LB sends in a question, says Chase or Higgins rest of season. Chase or Higgins? I mean, at this point, I'd rather have Jamar Chase. It was Jamar Chase before, and I think it'll be Jamar Chase even after the fact. I think they might end up being closer than we think. Like, if you guys remember late last year, like weeks 11 through 17, they were no joke, they were identical in terms of fantasy point per game production. So it's possible that they could be identical kind of options, but I'll just take the safety of Chase. And what do you think about Pollard over Dalvin Cook rest of the season? After last night, I'm beginning to doubt it to an extent. I know Pollard had a pretty good share of rushing attempts, but another lost red zone opportunity. I'd probably say let's hold on to Dalvin. We knew Dalvin was going to have a tough time based on matchup and the fact that his starting left tackle was out. So I think we'll just kind of hold on to Dalvin for now. Chris All-In says, I need one running back to start in a full PPR. Cordero Patterson, Gus Edwards, Dante Foreman, Kieran Williams, Akers, Brian Robinson, and/or Gerald Everett. I don't know if Gerald Everett is a running back, but at this moment, out of the group of players that you've mentioned, I'm going to play Deontay Foreman. Thank you, Chris. Bradley Harris, full PPR, P. Ryan, Foreman, Pacheco. Of those 3 in a full PPR format, give me Foreman. As for the follow-up question, Burks or Pickens, give me Pickens. Thank you. Picks sends in a question, says, full PPR, pick 2, Jeff Wilson Jr., Olave White. In a full PPR, give me both the running backs. I'll take Jeff Wilson and White there. I'm already starting Chase right now. If Chase doesn't play, if Chase doesn't play at that point, you'd have the ability to go for Olave. But otherwise, it would be Wilson, White, and Chase. Thank you. Seahawks02 says 12-team, full PPR, Lamar or Herbert. Yeah, give me Justin Herbert this week. And then for the flex, Montgomery or Palmer. I'd only ever play Montgomery if Fields is active. If if Fields is not active on Sunday against the Jets, give me Palmer there. Thank you. And the primary reason, just so we have like a mutual understanding, if Trevor Siemian is the starting quarterback, I have a very difficult time believing that this team could seamlessly move the ball on the Jets defense. The Jets defense is a legit force. So if Trevor Siemian is going to be there with the receiving options of Claypool and Darnell Mooney most likely getting locked down for majority of that game, Sauce Gardner and the boys there, it's going to be tough for me to assume that this team with that kind of coverage in the back end, playing one-on-one man coverage, isn't going to stack the box and stop Montgomery from gaining yards. So that would be the biggest issue that I'd have there. The ability of having Fields in the backfield just gives us more potential to getting down the field, opening up the offense a little bit more, and then at that point, getting potential red zone opportunities for Montgomery, which would save his week. But for right now, yeah, that's the thought process. Dominic Bueno says, full PPR, Jimmy G or Kyler. I'm still playing Jimmy G there. Follow up, Walker as my RB2, Chubb, Adams, McLaurin. Okay, wait, hold on, wait. RB1 is Walker, RB2 is Chubb, Adams and McLaurin is my wide receiver 1 and 2. Who do I put in the flex? Do I go with Najee Harris, or what's the other option? Or Olave? Yeah, give me. Oh man, good old Najee Harris or Olave question. I would probably go with Najee Harris, purely based off the idea that even though Olave is a great receiver, I don't know if he's going to see a high enough target volume and a receiving kind of baseline of production that if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's not. Yeah, he probably won't outscore Najee if he doesn't score a touchdown. So I'd roll with Najee Harris there. Rico Baptiste says Etienne, Debo, White, or Pierce. If I'm picking 3 out of these options, it's Etienne and White for sure. Then it's a matter of whether or not Debo plays. If Debo plays, I'll take him over Pierce. If not, we'll just throw Pierce in there. Thank you. Vald says Jimmy G or Fields if active. If both are active, I would most likely still play Jimmy G there. Vald, thank you. David A says full PPR, Rashad White or Miles Sanders. Give me Rashad White. Follow up, Cooper in the rain or Miles Sanders or Boyd. Give me Miles Sanders versus Green Bay over Cooper and Boyd this week. Thank you. All right, we've caught up there. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Let's go back to the YouTube chat. Let's see what you guys have to say. Get to some of these questions. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys' patience. Let's see what we have here. Let me scroll back up. So we just did David's question. So let's see here. Who should I start? Marquise Hollywood Brown, Devonta Smith, or Isaiah Pacheco? I'm most likely leaning towards Devonta Smith in a half PPR. I think Pacheco is a great play in a standard league because you know he's probably going to get you 10 fantasy points without a question, even without scoring a touchdown. The only issue that I have Pacheco is his touchdown upside. Marquise Hollywood Brown is expected to play. I just don't know if he's a immediate play him and don't worry about it. I'm beginning to get PTSD from Mike Williams last week of guys re-aggravating injuries. So it might be one of those weeks where we just wait on him and just play Devonta Smith at this point. Evans or Connor this week? Give me Connor. Thank you. Who do you like in a full PPR, Etienne or Rashad White? I'd like to play Rashad White this week. Greetings and salutations, everyone. What's up, Mario? Hope you're doing well. Full PPR, Chris Godwin or Tyler Lockett? Give me Tyler Lockett this week. Let's see here. What do we have? Need 2 wide receivers between McLaurin and Chase. Okay. So I need a wide receiver 2 between McLaurin and Chase. My wide receiver 1 was Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay, so this is interesting because I might actually play goodness gracious. Okay. So at this point, do I want to play Ja'Marr Chase over Terry McLaurin this week? I don't know if I want to. I might have to just off the principle of it being Ja'Marr Chase. But McLaurin's a good option, man. I got to think about that one. Because the assumption is that Chase, you know what? I probably play McLaurin there. I think I'm playing McLaurin. I have him higher in the rankings. I think I'll just commit to that for now. And then your flex was Rashad Ramondre Steve. I mean, at least you had a pretty good day yesterday. And Amon-Ra St. Brown had another big game. Ramondre, an absolute phenom in the receiving game in terms of total receptions. Your running backs are Walker and Jacobs. Yeah, you're good to go. At this point, I'm thinking it's McLaurin, man. I'm thinking it's McLaurin because I don't want there to be a situation where Ja'Marr Chase comes in, only plays about 60% of the snaps, doesn't get as much utilization as we expect, and they're kind of like barely but surely kind of working him in slowly, and I don't want one of those limited games potentially playing. Man, so many injuries, this really sucks. Yeah, hey, that's every year, Danny. That's every year, I'm telling you. Every year, too many injuries. Rachaad White or Aaron Jones? I'll take Rachaad White. Donovan says you forgot my super chat. I think you may have just sent it in, Donovan. Otherwise, no, I did. Wait, Donovan Jordan. I did miss it. No, did I? I did miss it. His question was full PPR, ETN or Pirine. We're going to put ETN there. Debo or Palmer. Under the assumption that Debo is active, I'd probably roll with him. Otherwise, yeah, that's the only. Do I really want to do that and play the risk? Yeah, I'll play the risky game there. I'd roll with Debo as long as he's active. But ETN for sure over Pirine. My apologies, Donovan. Thank you for pointing that out to me. Tannehill, Ryan, or Pickett this week. I'd probably play Tannehill there. So yeah, Rachaad White over Aaron Jones. Happy Friday, Andrew. Okay, here we go. 1 running back and 2 flex, full PPR, Monty, Kamara, Aaron Jones, Latavius, Hollywood. I would play Kamara, Aaron Jones, and Murray, Latavius. So these 3 in the highlight. Thank you. Should I start the Dolphins defense or the Jets defense? I would only ever play the Jets defense if they're playing up against, not only ever play. No, let me rephrase this. If Trevor Siemian's the quarterback, I'd feel very comfortable playing the Jets defense and probably start them over the Dolphins. If that's not the case and it's going to be Justin Fields, I would play the Dolphins defense against Kyle Allen and the Houston Texans. Higbee or Njoku? At this point, I'll probably play Higbee. Hey, Andrew, full PPR, pick 2, James Conner, Rachaad White, Jeff Wilson. Give me both of these backs. I'll take Jeff Wilson and Rachaad White this week. Thank you, Battletoad. Battletoad or Hornfrog? Which one's better? Jack says Alvin or Rachaad White. I'm playing Rachaad White. Guys, I'm not messing with this time. I mean, if in fact we get to tomorrow, even if Leonard Fournette's active, like if they're going to give him the bulk majority of the rushing attempts against one of the easiest matchups within the given year in a rain game, yeah, I'll take Rachaad White. TNF Outdoors says PPR, pick 2, Chubb, White, Jeff Wilson. Thank you. At this point, at this position, oh man. Jeff Wilson's for sure. Now it's a matter of my judgment of picking Rachaad White or Nick Chubb. And I'm beginning to think that I'd rather play Rachaad White. The only reason I'd ever not play Rachaad White this week over Nick Chubb is if in fact Vita Vea is going to be inactive for the Tampa Bay Bucks. If Vita Vea is inactive, I'd play Chubb. Otherwise, I'm playing Rachaad White and Jeff Wilson there. 2 spots, ETN, White, and Keenan Allen, full PPR. You might not like what I'm going to say, but I think I'd rather play Keenan Allen and White. With Byron Murphy missing this week for the Arizona Cardinals, that opens up a lot of opportunity for the slot receiving option of Keenan Allen this week. So I think I'm going to go with White and Allen. You missed my super chat. Chris, I did not. That one I can confirm that I did answer, but I will go back and answer it anyway. Chris, you were asking of those potential running backs, who should you play? My immediate suggestion was to play Foreman. Thank you. Appreciate it. And then your follow-up question was, can we drop Everett? I would say no. I think he's a really good play for this week. So we're good to go there. The only reason I'd ever drop Everett if you have like a Kelsey or Andrews, right? Otherwise, Everett has Arizona this week, and Arizona's a really good matchup. Like just to give you some perspective on the matchup in itself for Everett, for those of you who are questioning the potential validity of playing him, let's talk about recent performances from Arizona's, just secondary in general, trying to stop tight ends. Kittle, obviously 22.5 points last week. The week before that, Higbee went for 11.3. Week before that, Noah Fant, 12.1. Minnesota tight ends combined for 11.4. New Orleans tight ends combined for 24.5. Goddard in week 5, 13.5. Like, those are fantasy points and a half PPR scoring from it that I'm rattling off. Like, these are really good performances. Why not Gerald Everett, Okay, there were a couple more donations that came in. I did see your second one, Chris. We'll get to that in just a moment. Let me just go ahead and answer whatever questions are left on this panel here, and then we'll get to it. Brian says full PPR, Samaje Perine or Brian Robinson this week. In a full PPR, I'd rather play Samaje Perine. Thank you. Juwan Johnson or Cole Kmet. Good question, actually. If Juwan Johnson, Cole Kmet, I'll play Juwan Johnson. Yeah, just give me Juwan Johnson. The only reason I'd ever play Kmet this week is if, in fact, we get 100% confirmation that Fields is going. If Fields is going, I'll play Kmet. Start one, Pierce, Olave, Rashad White. Give me Rashad White out of the group. Who do I start? Carr or Brady this week? Give me Carr this week. Barry, what's up, Barry? Hope you're doing well. Says, hey, Andrew, I dropped a question in the Patreon. Not sure if you can get there. Yeah, I'll get to it in a moment. Let me just go ahead and open the Patreon, and then let me keep answering these, and then we'll address that in a moment. Alfredo says, Najee or Connor. Alfredo, we talked about this earlier this week. I think you want to play Connor, right? Because you and I both know how bad that Chargers defense is. Like, they cannot stop the run, and I get it. I just think that the fact that there's no Jaylen Warren in this backfield for Najee Harris, like, solidifies the fact that he's probably going to get those 20 rushing attempts. And when he does, there's a lot of upside there for Najee Harris, especially when he gets it moving. Bebop or Champloo? To be totally honest, I've seen Champloo. Have I seen the entirety of Bebop? I don't think I have. Off the top of my head, I've seen Champloo for sure, though. Gorilla says, okay, Gorilla, we'll get back to your question in a second. The chat wanted to update and just ruin the whole thing. Gorilla, I'm going to come back to your question in just a moment. Let me go ahead and answer some of these donation questions that were sent in. We had David A send in a question. We already took care of you, David. We're good to go there. Chris All In had another question. Says Dolphins or Chiefs defense this week. I'd play the Chiefs defense this week. And then as for the Gerald Everett question, yeah, we're going to hold on to him because, again, it's a big matchup here this week. Daniel Keenan says, in the flex, I'm worried about Kamara in his current matchup. I am as well. Don't worry. I am as well. I have Mooney, Nico Collins, or do I go get Elijah Moore, Demarcus Robinson, and or Corey Davis, or do I roll with Kamara or Alec Pierce? Yeah, I'm going to roll with Kamara. There's no way that I could objectively trust Demarcus Robinson or Corey Davis or Elijah Moore, Mooney versus Gardner Johnson, Nico Collins with a new quarterback. I don't trust them over Kamara, so I'm just rolling with Kamara there in hopes that he gets that receiving work and hopefully a red zone rushing attempt that leads to a touchdown. Matthew Krall says half PPR, Samaje Perine, Miles Sanders, or Josh Jacobs. If Josh Jacobs is active, he's in my lineup. Otherwise, it's Miles Sanders there, Matthew. Terry R says pick 2, White, Mike White, Evans. Sorry, that's not Mike White. Dyslexia. Apologies. Miles Sanders. It just says Miles. White, which is Rashad White, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk. If I'm picking 2 out of this group, I'm going to go Rashad White and Christian Kirk. As for Njoku versus Everett, give me Everett. Smooth Criminal says full PPR Kamara or Perine, give me Kamara. Andreas Guevara says half PPR, Gibson or Sutton. I will take Antonio Gibson there versus Atlanta. Thank you. Juan Angel says full PPR, flex, Christian Kirk, Lockett, Perine or Burks. Give me Christian Kirk in a full PPR. Thank you. Nick Wilby says full PPR, Perine or Carter. I will take Michael Carter there this week. Is it good to start Holly? Limited? Good to start Holly? Oh, as in Hollywood Brown? I'm a little bit conservative on my approach to Hollywood Brown as of this week. Joshua Wilkins says half PPR, flex 1, Christian Watson, Isaiah Pacheco, or Perine. I think there are multiple trains of thought here. I'm not playing Perine. That's first and foremost. It's between Christian Watson and Pacheco. Pacheco gets you 10 points. Christian Watson gives you either 5 or 15. What's the risk? Which one do we want? I'm probably leaning towards Christian Watson and a half PPR, though. Thank you. All right, now let me go back to the chat. Actually, no. Barry had sent in a question and said, hey, I sent something on Patreon. So let me go ahead. Let me go to the Patreon real quick. And then we're going to get to Gorilla. Gorilla, I did not forget you. So what is this question, Barry? Let's see, my man. So Barry specifically says, 12 team, half PPR. I've clinched the playoff spot. If Jacobs doesn't play, I don't have any other running backs to replace him with. Abdullah is available on the waiver wire, but I need someone to drop for him. Do I drop Myers or the other Myers, which is the kicker? So both, okay, so Jacoby or the kicker, or get a trade to someone comparable to Myers. Burrow, Garoppolo. Okay, so here's the issue. Considering Jacoby Myers already played yesterday, I doubt you'd be able to make the trade and actually have them both swap positions. Like, Myers would end up on the other team and the player that you'd want to get back in exchange would return to you. So at this point, considering your already clinched the playoffs, if you're going for the bye week, you probably you want to have to try to play someone this week. So at this point, where's Jakobi Meyers within this? You probably want to. Okay, so here's my thought process. I'm based on the receivers you have. Higgins, yeah, I mean, based on the receivers you have, I'm okay dropping Myers if you need a running back. But if you're going to be picking up Abdullah to fill that in, I'd rather just try to trade Myers. If you can find a trade in your league settings, Barry, work in the way that you can actually trade, and even though you didn't start Myers, he would be swapped onto someone else's bench and another player would come back to you, then I would try to approach it as such. Thank you. All right, let me go back to the YouTube chat here. Let me see where the heck Gorilla's question is. All right, Gorilla, here we go. So Gorilla had said, pick 3, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster. We have DeAndre Hopkins, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, Tyler Boyd. I benched Myers. Tony is out, thanks. Okay, so DeAndre Hopkins, first and foremost, is our number 1. The second best option out of this group is most likely Juju Smith-Schuster and then Christian Watson. With Chase coming back, Boyd doesn't become as pivotal of an option in terms of targets. Garrett Wilson's fine, but I like to give him a week to see what happens. Deontay Johnson's unstartable. So it's Juju, Hopkins, and Watson there, Gorilla. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Let me half PPR from Sebastian says Godwin, Garrett Wilson, Joshua Palmer, Lazard, or Marquise Hollywood Brown. Pick 3. Thank you. All right, Sebastian, let's see here. So considering we're being very conservative with the potential of playing Godwin in a rain game, I think my approach is going to be primarily Garrett Wilson, Josh Palmer, and then I got to decide between some of these other options. I'd probably at that point go Garrett Wilson, Joshua Palmer, and then I'd play Hollywood Brown as the third. Was so close to playing McKenzie over Christian Watson, says Anonymous. Dude, if you were actually close to playing McKenzie over Watson, I'd like to know what made you think that McKenzie was going to be such an explosive play. Because I'd actually legitimately want to know. Was it the coverage? Because, quite frankly, McKenzie is so on and off. Or you just had a feeling. You're like, hey, it's a Thursday game. McKenzie's probably going to go off and screw up everybody's day who played Gabriel Davis. You know what I mean? Kamara or Godwin this week? I'd play Kamara this week. Smokey. Tristan says, in the flex, Chris Godwin or Michael Pittman Jr.? I'm leaning towards Pittman as well. I'll play Pittman there. Hey, Andrew, hardest working FF guy out there. I don't know about that. I mean, I work really hard as a one-man band. Like, I don't go outside. I don't leave the house. All I do is literally try to make this channel as best as I can because there's so much effort and time that's needed to run an actual full-fledged daily YouTube channel. It's kind of ridiculous as someone who does literally majority of everything on this channel, whether it's recording, editing, all that jazz. But yeah, I do appreciate that, Hayden. Let's see here. We think Debo is iffy. Start since questionable with a hamstring. Yeah, I don't know if I'm starting him. I think there are going to be better options. By the time we get to Sunday morning visions, I'll have the ranking set as such into a position to where Debo is lower than I had him earlier this week, under the assumption that even if he is playing, the potential of him leaving the game early with a hamstring makes it so where I'm like, okay, I understand he has upside. I'd rather play another option. Like, I'd certainly rather play Ayuk at this point. Like, even if Debo is ready to go. But yeah, we'll have that designated for sure by Sunday. Taylor, Murray, White, half PPR. Yeah, I'm playing Taylor. But if you have all 3 of these guys roll, oh, okay, Freddie, that's what you mean. Yeah, you're good to go, Freddie. That's a pretty solid team. So yeah, you're good to go. Full PPR, Joe Mixon away, or trade Joe Mixon away for Mike Evans. Alan, my only question to you in regards to this potential theoretical situation, hypothetical, is do you need a win this week? If you are in a must-win scenario, otherwise you're getting knocked out of the playoffs, I would look to trade away Joe Mixon, but I would not trade him for Mike Evans. So if you're talking about, hey, Andrew, I don't need to win this week, I just need to get a wide receiver, I would want a lot more than Mike Evans in return for the services of a Joe Mixon. Thank you. Let's see here. White or Kenneth Walker, says Michael. I'm going to go Kenneth Walker there. I like White, but I don't like him that much. A.J. Brown or Keenan Allen this week? It's probably going to be A.J. Brown and a half PPR. Keenan Allen would probably be my suggestion of full PPR. Let's see here. Gorilla says, I have the Commanders defense. I swap defenses every week. Is there a better stream? Steelers, maybe? Okay, so here's my question, Gorilla. Do you have Kansas City or Miami available? If they are, those are the two that I would suggest. Okay, let's see here. Full PPR. I need to start two. Najee Harris, David Montgomery, or Jeff Wilson Jr., or Amari Cooper. Yeah, I would play Najee and I'd play Jeff Wilson this week. Thank you. Should I play Lazard, Burks, or Curtis Samuel as my wide receiver too? Really good question. I think I'm more comfortable playing Lazard because I know that the target capacity, the volume of targets is certainly going to be there. It's not like a 1 week wonder for Lazard that it is in the case of Burks. So I'd rather just play the stability of Lazard as of late. Mike White is the start of the week. You know what? I hope you're right. I'm not even joking. I hope with all my fantasy might that there is a legitimate world here where Mike White comes in and slings the rock and scores all the fantasy points in the world, because there's nothing more than we need than the Jets receiving pieces to be relevant. Because if we can get a relevant, Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson on a weekly basis, that makes it so much easier for us to have to continue to bench him, as long as Zach Wilson is, under center over there. Flex Antonio Gibson or Rachaad White. I'll play Rachaad White this week. You have Eckler and Henry. Yeah, so you're playing Eckler, Henry, and roll with Rachaad White there. Just really the matchup. Plus the fact that the Bills were struggling letting up points. Yeah, I mean, look, the matchup was great. I couldn't ever see myself playing Isaiah McKenzie over any alternative option there. Keenan Allen or Kamara in a non-PPR, I'll take Kamara. Patterson or Foreman, I'll take Foreman. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Full PPR start to Joshua Palmer, Burks, or Campbell. If I'm starting two in a full PPR, I'll take these two. Give me Palmer and Burks for right now. Where do you value Sky Moore? Sky Moore has moved up in my rankings. So you know what's funny, guys? I think was it last Saturday? So I think it was last Saturday. Interestingly enough, I was talking to you guys, and I was saying, I'm even in one of my leagues in such a desperate position because of the bye weeks of last week with Tyreek Hill, Waddle, Evans, Godwin, Tyler Lockett, what's it called? DK Metcalf, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Cooper Kupp all out last week, right? I was even telling you guys that last week I was in a position in one of my main home leagues that I had to start Demarcus Robinson. Well, that went really well. In that exact same league, I'm starting Sky Moore as my wide receiver 3. We'll see what happens, okay? I got a good feeling about it. Forgot to mention pick 2. Wait, where are you, Freddie? Freddie, where did you go, Freddie? I had Elijah Moore. I dropped it. Yeah, I don't blame you, Danny. I don't blame you in any sort of capacity. Okay, we're going to get to Freddie's question in just a moment. I got to catch up on some of these donation questions that were just sent in. So let me go ahead and address those, and then we'll get back into the chat. Let's see here. Freddie, again, you can just send me a message on... well, yeah, I don't have my Discord open. Never mind. I'll get to it in a second, Freddie. My apologies. All right, let's see here. So... let's see, where are we at? So we did Juan, we did Nick, we did Joshua Wilkins. Juan sent in another question. He said, Komet and Njoku. I'll play Komet this week as long as Fields is active. Otherwise, we'll just roll with Njoku. Terry R says, Brady, Heineke, Carr, or Ryan this week. I'll take Carr out of the group. Evans or Burks. Now, that one's tough. I'd probably still play Evans at that capacity. Omar G says, Hooper, Moreau, or Gesicki. I'll play Moreau out of the 3. Full PPR, Campbell, Amari Cooper, Curtis Samuel. I'll still play Amari Cooper there. And I feel like I'm playing Chubb no matter what. Yeah, you have to play Chubb no matter what, 100%. Steve Bateman says, if Jacobs doesn't play, do I start Amir Abdullah or Christian Watson? I'd play Christian Watson. Primarily because if Jacobs doesn't go, I think Brandon Bolden probably dominates majority of the rushing workload there. If not Zamir White, we'll see. Again, Brandon Bolden and Amir Abdullah were both active last week. Brandon Bolden, if you guys remember last season, specifically for the New England Patriots, while Josh McDaniels was there, any week in which Damian Harris and or Ramondre Stevenson went and were out with an injury, Brandon Bolden came in and was actually a pretty pivotal option for fantasy. So that was last season. I'm assuming they'll do the same because that's just the way that Josh McDaniels likes to run his offense. Appreciate it. Okay, so now that we caught up with some of those donations that were sent in, I appreciate you guys. Let me go back into this chat. Let me go to see what the heck Freddie was on about. Let's see here. Control F. So it was a pick 2 out of 3 out of this group. I'm playing Jonathan Taylor and I'm playing Rachaad White, I'd bench Latavius Murray. It may seem a little crazy, but I'll do it. I don't think it's crazy, to be honest, though. Kamara or Rachaad White? Give me Rachaad White there. Joined late, but have we discussed Jamar Chase? Sounds like he won't really. We won't really know until Sunday. Yeah, we won't really know. So this is the question: how do you not have a name? How do you not have a name? How do you do that? What the? Wait, this guy doesn't even have a logo. Oh no, he does. Okay. Oh, I was about to say. I was like, are we completely glitched out here? Just to give us an indication here, NFL Week 12. I want to know, when did the Bengals start? The Bengals start at 10 a.m. on Sunday, so we'll know during our live stream whether or not he's playing. So because they'll have warmed up probably by the time that I start my live stream at 8 a.m. PST, they will have already warmed up. We'll get a full indication probably by 8:30 as to whether he's going to play. So by then, we'll know in regards as to what the heck we're going to do on Sunday, right? Nate Chong says, full PPR, trade Pollard and Waddle for Henry. Pollard and Waddle for Henry. I have Diggs, Godwin, Ola. Okay, so Nate, this is my primary suggestion. I think I'm okay. I'm okay with it purely off of the basis that I truly do believe that Derrick Henry scores 25 to 35 points each of the first 2 weeks of the fantasy playoffs, weeks 15 and 16. Now, if you're making this trade purely for that, you've already clinched the playoff spot, and that's the reason why you're doing it, then sure. Otherwise, there's a chance that in those 2 weeks, Pollard and Waddle combine for more fantasy points, and it could hurt. But under the basis of just purely that, because he plays against the Chargers and the Houston Texans in the first 2 weeks of the fantasy playoffs, anybody that has Henry in your league should be very much so feared. So at that point, I'd be okay with it. But otherwise, I think you're giving up a pretty penny there. What is this? Most watched NFL Thanksgiving Day ever? Really? That's actually incredible numbers. All right. Would you play Jeff Wilson? Ignacio, as of right now, yes. Jeff Wilson is a top 10 running back on my list. In fact, going to this week, on Sunday morning when you see it, he's going to be even higher than Jonathan Taylor. So he's going to be top 5. Jeff Wilson's a top 5 back this week in my mind. We talked about it earlier in the beginning of the live stream. So if you rewind back then, you could probably get the full spectrum. But incredible matchup. Potentially no Raheem Mostert. Easily 20 fantasy points minimum. Mario. Okay, so I guess Danny's talking to Mario. Start Rachaad White or Dameon Pierce in a standard. Sean, I'm going to play Rachaad White this week. Thank you. Let's see here. Okay, Murray, Taylor, White. Yeah, Taylor, White. Have Kamara at my flex. Should I swap him for either Najee, Keenan Allen, or Debo? Or should I stick with Kamara in a half PPR? I would rather play Najee Harris. I don't blame you for wanting to play Kamara. I think they're pretty close in the idea that... Actually, no, they're not close. Kamara doesn't get as many touches. That's just purely it. He won't get the goal line attempts. I'd rather just play Najee Harris at that point. Palmer or Ayuk? Give me Ayuk this week, Dennis. Let's see here. Full PPR league. White, Godwin, or Pierce? Yeah, give me White still. Thoughts on rookie receivers this year? In what regard, Original Shop? Are we talking about remainder of the season or thus far, how well have they played? Kind of thing. Because if we're talking about remainder of the season, this is when rookie wide receivers begin to heat up. And we're hoping that the heat up comes for guys like Pickens, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, what's his name? Who am I forgetting? Chris Olave, guys like that. Hopefully it begins to heat up right now because this is the time for it to all kind of click for them. Let's see here. Vision says, okay. Yeah. Listen, the thing about Tony, though? Tony wasn't really the same scenario as what Debo presents, right? Tony was like hey, I'm healthy. I just scored 17 fantasy points. Juju Smith-Schuster and McCole Hardman are out. You should play me. Boom, hamstring strain. It's like, how unlucky is that? Like, I mean, I just, pain. Just pain. Rachaad White or Aaron Jones? I'd play Rachaad White there. Do I gamble on Justin Fields or just play Carr? If Fields, okay, well, let's see here. When does Fields play in comparison to Derek Carr, right? Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Week 12 schedule. Alrighty. So week 12, the Bears play in the morning and the Raiders play in the afternoon. Okay, so at that point, you can make the decision of whether or not you want to play them against the Jets or just kind of wait. At this moment, if Fields is playing, I'll take him in my lineup. If he's not, then again, you pivot. But that's the kind of thought process I'm at. If Fields is playing, I think he's in a position to where he's not. Here's the thing: it's pain management with the shoulder, right? So if he can get a shot, deal with the pain, and he's going to play through it, he probably runs for the entire game. Probably runs for over 100 yards. Probably runs for a touchdown. Just off of that, those statistics alone, it's like 16 fantasy points, right? So if he's going to put up 16 fantasy points without even counting any sort of passing work he gets, maybe he throws for 120 and a touchdown, he's significantly a better play than Derek Carr if he plays. Was there any... Okay, Smooth Criminal sent in a question, said Juju or ETN in a full PPR? I'll take ETN there at that point. Thank you. All right, let me go back to the chat here really quickly. Do you think AJ Brown... What do you think of AJ Brown rest of the season? He should be fine. I mean, again, he's very much so in a position right now where he's had himself a couple slow performances, but that's the case of AJ Brown. He's always been a very much so touchdown dependent option. So I don't really blame him for having off weeks and then having monster weeks. I'm okay with that utilization, and I think with Goddard out for the remainder of the regular season here at least, he's got himself more target potential. Tua or Fields, yeah, I'm just gonna outright play Tua at that point. Where do you rank Rachaad White now? I have him in my top 10 rankings for the week. So that's primarily why people were asking, hey, do I play Rachaad White or Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones sits at like number 9 or 10. Earlier in this week's rankings, yeah, I'd rather just play Rachaad White at that point. 1 point per reception, 2 flex options. We have Latavius, Campbell, and Foreman. Latavius is for sure playing. As for Foreman versus Campbell, I think Foreman probably has just as much potential, but I don't know if he has the upside in that regard against Denver. I think I'm probably going Latavius and Campbell there. Cole Kmet or Juwan Johnson. Again, it's probably Juwan unless, in fact, we have Fields playing, in which then I'd play Kmet. Sutton, Patterson, or Allen in a non-PPR. In a non-PPR scoring format, I probably assume that Allen is still just as valuable, if not more valuable than both those guys. Because I don't see these guys... I don't see Sutton scoring a touchdown this week. Patterson could score a touchdown, but I don't see him having too many yards. Did Foreman practice today? You know what? Good question, Terry. Let's see. Injury report. Carolina Panthers. Let's see what we have here for today. Foreman, where art thou? He's not on the injury report. So what are we worried about? So yeah, he did practice. All right. Kyler or Geno? I just play Geno there. I think it's just a safety. I play DK over Godwin. I play Everett over Dulcich. I'd play Latavius over Montgomery. How do we feel about Jeff Wilson Jr. moving forward? Moving forward, I mean, listen, the last 2 weeks has pretty much kind of proven what he is, right? He's the number one back of a really powerful offense. He's getting majority of the snaps, majority of the rushing attempts, majority of the targets. When you're in that conversation, rest of the season, with his regular just looking at the upcoming games, right, for the Miami Dolphins in specific. Okay? So Miami plays against Houston, San Francisco, Los Angeles Chargers. That San Francisco matchup is tough, but it's a revenge game, so it could give a little bit of an extra boost to Jeff Wilson Jr. So you have Houston, San Francisco, LA Chargers. 3 pretty good matchups for him. Then you get into the fantasy playoffs, in which Miami takes on 3 pretty tough matchups, but technically they're favorable in some circumstances. So first and foremost, they start off by playing Buffalo. We know that anybody can run the ball in Buffalo. It is their biggest weakness as a team. Boom, we can run the ball there. Then they play against Green Bay. Awesome. Anybody can run the ball in Green Bay. And then you get New England in week 17, which at that point, yes, it's a tough matchup, but Tua is quite literally undefeated against the New England Patriots in his career. I'm all in on it. I think Raheem Mostert, man, he needs to be in that conversation. If in fact there is no, sorry, not Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson. If there is no Raheem Mostert going forward, it's gonna be exciting. Akers or Pickens this week? I'll play Pickens. Carter or Foreman? I'll take Carter. Not Andrew. You know, it's funny. As soon as I see AK, I see my initials instead of Alvin Kamara. My apologies. That's just the way that I've been, you know, that's my life. White, Pacheco, or Alvin Kamara. I'll take White over the bunch. Robert Woods, 2 touchdowns this Sunday. Hayden, I'm going to hold you to it, man. If you do it, the next week after that, I'm going to, okay, here's the deal, Hayden. If Robert Woods scores 2 touchdowns this week, okay, from henceforth, for the remainder of the season, we will have Hayden Phoenix's bold prediction of the week, and I will make it a segment on the show. I'm not even joking. If Robert Woods scores 2 touchdowns on Sunday, we'll have a segment for you every single week on the show. Okay? I'm not joking. It'll be a thing. All right? You didn't ask for it, but it'll happen. All right? So let's hope this happens, shall we? I'm hoping it does, but let's hope. Let's see here. Should I trade Hurts or Chase for JJ and Kyler? Should I trade Hurts and Chase for JJ and Kyler? I want to hope that Kyler can be good enough to sustain this. But for right now, is Kyler going to be good enough? Eventually, he'll get his receiving pieces back, but it's a matter of his health. I don't look. My concern is you make this trade, Kyler, you know, messes up his hamstring again, and then we're in trouble, right? You got to start, you know, what's his name? Colt McCoy for the remainder of the season. That's my biggest concern right now. So I'm a little hesitant to make that deal. Foreman wasn't at practice yesterday. Was he not? I looked at the practice report. He wasn't on it. It didn't even say that, because usually they have to designate even if he wasn't there. It would say NIR, as in non-injury related. So he's not on the report, so I think he's fine. But yeah, I don't know. Let me see here. Michael Barton sent in a question. Says Logan Thomas or Greg Dulcich this week? I don't think Logan Thomas is playing. I'm gonna be honest. From the practice report that I saw this week, or literally just today, from the Washington Commanders, week 12. Where's Logan Thomas on this list? Logan Thomas did not practice today. Rib injury. I think you just have to play Dulcich there, Michael. Your follow-up, is Campbell a good flex? Yeah, I think so. In a full PPR, certainly. Where does Terry rank rest of season? Terry McLaurin is probably a top 15 wide receiver. Has the upside of being a top 12, but I don't know if I would give him that designation at the moment. Carter or Pirine, Andrew? Andrew Collymore, I would say Carter instead of Pirine in a half PPR. And, okay, yeah, we did that. Okay, who's rest of season? CeeDee Lamb or... Yeah, it's CeeDee Lamb. I had him ahead of him for probably the last month in terms of rest of season. I'm still rolling with that idea. Yeah, ever since we knew that Dak Prescott was going to come back earlier than anticipated, I've had CeeDee Lamb in my top 5-6 options for wide receivers. I heard Kyler Murray is a video game addict. He might be. I don't know. I don't like hold that against him. As long as he shows up on Sundays and plays well, that's fine. But he doesn't always show up and play well. That's the issue. It's not a matter of what he does on his off time. What NFL players decide to do on their own time is their own time, right? I don't blame them. So as long as they show up and they play well, or they can play consistently enough so I can trust them, that's all I really look towards, All right, let me go ahead and answer some of these donation questions, and then we're going to go back into the chat, and then we're going to close out today's stream. I didn't want to be here for too long because we're going to be live streaming again tomorrow. We'll have more information then, and it will also be live streaming on Sunday. That's how bad my days have gone. Considering yesterday felt like Sunday, my entire schedule is kind of cooked. So, Matthew Perry 209 says Curtis Samuel, Chris Godwin, or Treylon Burks this week. I think I might play Treylon Burks there. That's where I'm kind of leaning towards, Matthew. Michael Barton says Josh Jacobs has a new calf injury. Should I play Rachaad White? I would probably lean towards the idea that if Josh Jacobs is active, I'm playing him. Otherwise, yes, I'd play Rachaad White. That's the only reason I would ever not play Josh Jacobs. It's if, in fact, he is inactive. Paul says Jeff Wilson, Rachaad White, or Dameon Pierce in the flex. I'd play Jeff Wilson this week, Paul. iShine101 says Pirine or McKinnon in a half PPR this week. I play Samaje Pirine. Thank you. Young Money says full PPR. Dameon Pierce, Alvin Kamara, Christian Watson in a full PPR scoring format. I'd play Alvin Kamara. Thank you. Michael Barton says, okay, we did Michael Barton's first question. Bug Nasty says Christian Watson, George Pickens, Cordero Patterson, Brandon Cooks, Garrett Wilson. I need two in a full PPR scoring format. Christian Watson, George Pickens, Cordero Patterson, Brandon Cooks. All right, out of the group of wide receivers that you've mentioned, I'm playing Christian Watson and George Pickens. Thank you. Marlo Anchor says 2 wide receivers. We need Juju, Sutton, Moore, Pickens, or Burks. Of the available options, I'm playing Pickens and Juju Smith-Schuster. Thank you. iShine says Drake London or Curtis Samuel or Brandon Cooks this week. If I'm picking one out of the 3, I'll take Drake London. Thank you. Dab sends in a question, says I need 2 running backs to start. We have Jeff Wilson, David Montgomery, Dameon Pierce, and Rashad White. Give me White, give me Pierce. Give me White and give me Jeff Wilson. You're good to go there, Dab. Thank you. Okay. Back to the chat. Let me scroll to the bottom here. Rashad White or James Conner? I'll take White. Aaron Jones or T. Higgins in the flex? That's a good one. If Jamar Chase is active, I'll take Aaron Jones. Otherwise, I'll take T. Higgins. Pittman or Evans? Pittman or Evans? Give me Michael Pittman Jr. Kyler or Jimmy G? Give me Jimmy G. JT, ETN, Wilson, K9. Or KW3. I call him K9 because he's number 9. ETN is the bench. I'm playing JT, Wilson, and Kenneth Walker. Juju or Keenan Allen in a non-PPR? I play Juju there. Marquise Hollywood Brown or Peoples Jones? At this point, I'd play Marquise Hollywood Brown. Peoples Jones is consistent. I just think that there's a little bit more upside if Marquise Brown plays. There's more risk, certainly, but I'm willing to play the risk factor there. Brady or Kyler? I play Kyler. Wait, where did that go? Yeah, we already did the Aaron Kamara, Pierce, Aaron Jones, Rashad White need to sit 1 this week. If I'm sitting 1, it's Pierce. I play the rest of the bunch. Following Chubb, Aaron Jones, Jeff Wilson, Rashad White, PPR rank the following. If I'm ranking them off the top of my head in a full PPR as of going into this week, I'm playing Jeff Wilson Jr. 1, I'm playing Rashad White 2, I'm playing Jones 3, and I'm playing Chubb 4. Sutton or P. Ryan or Jonathan Peoples-Jones in a flex. I play Sutton this week there. PPR start 2 wide receivers in a flex. We have Pittman, Lazard, Watson, Campbell, Pickens, Pierce. Also, drop... Okay. Any of these for P. Ryan? No, I don't think I'm dropping any of these guys. So, at this point, out of the group, I would like to potentially play Watson and Pittman. And then follow that up by playing Pickens in the flex. Yeah, that's probably what I would do. Pick 3, Jamar, Olave, DK, Kirk. If Jamar Chase is active and he's playing, I'm playing Jamar alongside of Olave and Kirk, and I'm benching DK Metcalf this week. Someone said Pittman or Evans. I'm playing Pittman. ETN or Rashad White. I'll take Rashad White there. Patterson, Garrett Wilson, Gibson. I play Gibson there. Olave or Latavius Murray in a full PPR. I'll take the Olave side. Do I want to play the Olave side? Yeah, I'll play the Olave side of the deal. You know what? I don't know, man. This is a tough one. That one I got to think about. I'm not 100% sold on that idea. I want it to be the actual truth, but I don't know if it's going to be. I'm leaning towards Olave, though. Connor, ETN, Taylor, White, I'm sitting ETN in this conversation. No, probably not. I'd probably sit Connor just because of the ETN potential upside. Yeah, I'd probably sit Connor. I'd probably play ETN there. Kyler or Brady? Yeah, we'll play Kyler there. Okay, guys. I think I'm almost repeating myself a lot here. Kenneth Walker, Tyler Boyd, Pacheco, Palmer. Rank them. Kenneth Walker, number 1 in a half PPR. Number 2 is Palmer. Number 3, Pacheco. Number 4, Boyd. Thank you. Connor, ETN, White. Okay, never mind. We're going over there. Okay, AK. Full PPR. Rashad White, Dante Foreman, Alvin Kamara, Samaje P. Ryan. I need 2 of these options. Rashad White and Kamara. Bruin. Okay. Christian Watson, Paris Campbell, Sutton. I'm playing Christian Watson this week. Alrighty. Traded Aaron Jones for DK and Zeke. Looking much better. Yeah, I mean, again, the whole point of making the trade was to just give you more depth, right? Technically. Zeke is playing a lot better than I thought. I'll tell you that much. I liked Zeke prior to him getting injured. Don't get me wrong. You go back to week, 8? I was banging the table, trade for Zeke. He gets injured. I see Pollard. I see the legitimacy of Pollard. And I'm like, I've fallen in love with Pollard at some point, So at this point, Zeke is just, he's playing well. He was quite efficient as well yesterday in comparison to the first time we saw him. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and close that real quick. Answer a couple more of these donations that were sent in. No more donations. We're gonna cut it off. If you guys send in any more, I won't be able to answer them because I'm gonna close it after this. Steven Rivera says full PPR start 2. Pickens, Sanders, Sutton, Lazard. If I'm starting 2 out of those potential 4 options in a full PPR scoring format, I'm more inclined to play Pickens and in a full PPR. Do I want to play Sanders? If Sanders scores a touchdown, we're good. If he doesn't, I'm going to go Sutton and Pickens there. Thank you. Tony Telford says, Andrew, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I'm about to go eat leftovers. That's literally why I'm going to end the stream. Okay, guys? I'm going to just full transparency. Andrew's hungry. Haven't eaten all day because, again, yesterday I piled up. I hibernated. And then now I'm going to go get some leftovers. Do appreciate it. Montgomery or Godwin at the flex this week. I'm going to play most likely Montgomery if in fact we get an active Justin Fields, which I'm assuming is going to be the case. Montgomery would be the play. If not, then we'd pivot to Godwin. And we'll know that by the morning slate. Komet or Njoku this week. Again, it's the same conversation. So, Tony, your entire week is based on whether or not Justin Fields is active. If he is, I'm playing the Chicago Bears and I'm going all in on it. Otherwise, you play the other two options in the rain game. Bear Camp, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Says Justin Fields or Rachaad White if Fields plays. If Fields plays, I expect Justin Fields to have more rushing yards and more rushing touchdowns than Rachaad White. That's how good I think Justin Fields is at his job. So yes, we would play Justin Fields at the Superflex if in fact he's active. Okay, thank you. All right, guys, I'm gonna pack it in. I do appreciate you guys coming through. Hayden Phoenix, I'm holding you to your word. All right, I'm holding you to your word. So at this moment, guys, tomorrow we'll be live streaming once again from 1 to 3 p.m. It'll be a little bit of a longer stream tomorrow. Sunday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll also be live streaming. Good to go. Everything like that. Appreciate it. Outside of that, if you guys haven't yet already, do me a favor, click the like button down below. Subscribe if you have not yet already. We'll be back tomorrow for a live stream. We'll have a little bit more of an indicator as to what our rankings will look like. Also, if you guys haven't checked out PrizePicks over here, there's a link down in the description. If you go ahead and sign up and use promo code Andrew today, when you do sign up and make a first-time deposit, your first-time deposit is immediately doubled up to $100. You can go ahead, pick a couple entries for this upcoming weekend. I'm actually, you know what? We'll go over it tomorrow. I'll have a handful of potential entries for tomorrow. I don't know if you guys took advantage of that Justin Jefferson play yesterday. If you guys didn't have, the ability to go ahead and do that, you can maybe add, potential entries for tomorrow. All that kind of jazz. Check that out. Use promo code Andrew. Thank you very much. All right, guys. I'm going to cue the music. I'm going to go eat because I'm addicted to eating. And until next time, guys, I'll see you guys. Peace.